the keynote speaker for tonight's youth banquet. He has traveled across 6 continents to bring the message of chastity to more than 1 million teenagers in the past 15 years. And he is the best-selling author of more than 10 books. His website is chastityproject.com. S'il vous plaît, accueillir Jason Evert. Could you please put your hands together for Jason Evert?
Thank you very much. My grandparents were married for 65 years. They had 10 children and they would flirt with each other constantly. I grew up watching this. I saw my grandpa in the kitchen. He looked over to my grandma and he was feeling kind of frisky and he smacks her on the leg and he said, "Hi, my name's Joe." And I looked at that, I said, I love it. They're 100 years old and they're flirting. And when she passed away, he leaned over her coffin and he gave her one kiss on the nose. And he said, "Bye, babe." And I saw that and I said, that's it. That's what I want. I want a love that is stronger than death. Now, why do I mention this at a March for Life? It's because sometimes we forget that every woman walking into an abortion clinic only 4 weeks earlier was looking for this love, because she is created for love. And if a woman thinks that sex will bring her love, she'll risk getting pregnant, she'll risk the abortion, she'll risk the STDs if she thinks it's going to bring her love. For 3 years in college, I did sidewalk counseling in front of an abortion clinic, and I always felt late. Why am I meeting this woman 45 minutes before she's lying on an abortion table? Why couldn't I have met her when she was a sophomore in high school, a sophomore in college? Because if then she knew the difference between love and lust, she probably never would have dated this guy in the first place. And so I began to think, where are all these abortions coming from? Is it from the abortionists? Is it really from the pro-abortion legislation? Or is it from unchastity? Look at the numbers. 84% of women who have an abortion are not married to the father of that child. We have a generation of men that are afraid of their own fatherhood. A generation of men afraid of commitment. They're willing to take their pleasure, but not willing to take their responsibilities. I spoke at a high school, and I asked the boys, what is the most common sexually transmitted disease? One boy raised his hand. He said, I know, pregnancy. I said, no, I said, children are not bacteria. But who can blame these kids? They've been raised in a contraceptive culture where we're told you can separate making love from making life. And these young people, I mean, it even leads into marriage. When my wife and I had our second baby, people said, you're done, right? And then we had our first girl. And they said, well, you've got a girl, you're finished, right? What do I say to that? Finished? Yeah, we've collected all the genders. We can stop procreating now. But these young people, what is the solution? Because it creates a mess in these teenage relationships. I remember meeting one young woman, got pregnant. Her mother forced her to have an abortion. She got pregnant again. Afraid of having another abortion, she ran away. She lived in a cemetery for 2 weeks, hardly ate, hardly slept, gave up and went home. Her mom forced her to have a second abortion. Then her boyfriend broke up with her. What does that girl need? Does she need more contraceptives? Some people will say yes, they need safe sex, but that message has been a failure. Don't believe me, ask Planned Parenthood. They have said that most high school pregnancies are caused by the failure of contraception, not the failure to use contraception. They have admitted most women who have an abortion were using birth control the month they became pregnant. So what is needed? What is needed is a rebirth of the virtue of chastity, not as a list of prohibitions, but rather chastity as a virtue that frees you to love. Because at the end of the day, the safe sex message, that degrades women. It reduces a woman to her reproductive organs. Because as long as we protect those, then we have protected her. But I don't know about you, but I believe there's a lot more to a woman than her reproductive organs. Women have a heart, They have a soul, they have a mind, and we must protect the entire human person, because sexuality cannot be reduced to the transmission of pregnancies and disease. It is an entire human act, and the virtue of chastity frees them to love. It frees the young woman to know, is she being loved? Or is that boy just loving the pleasure that he is getting at her expense? And so if we can bring this message of chastity to the young people, then we can save these young girls from ever having to make that heart-rending decision of abortion. So Canada, if you wish to defend human life, we must defend human love. God bless you, Canada.